The morning began like any other on the Today Show, but what followed left viewers stunned. Lionel Richie, the legendary singer known for his smooth charm and timeless hits, sat opposite Robin Roberts, who was guest hosting the segment. At first, the interview was light-hearted, touching on music and career milestones, but it quickly took an unexpected turn when Robin pressed him on recent personal controversies that Lionel had been avoiding in public. Lionel, usually unshakable in his calm demeanor, shifted in his seat, his smile faltering for just a moment. Robin leaned forward with journalistic precision, asking if the rumors about backstage tensions and business disputes had any truth. Lionel took a deep breath, visibly restraining himself. "I didn't come here to air dirty laundry," he snapped. The crowd in the studio fell into an uneasy silence, sensing the storm brewing. Robin tried to steer the conversation back with diplomacy, but she repeated the question in a slightly different way, pressing for clarity. Lionel's eyes narrowed as he felt cornered. "You want sound bites, don't you?" he fired back. "That's the problem with today's media. You don't want the truth, you want spectacle." His voice rose in pitch, and the cameras caught every ounce of his frustration. The exchange began to unravel as Robin attempted to defend her line of questioning. "My job is to ask what the viewers want to know," she said firmly, maintaining her composure. Lionel shook his head, his voice trembling with emotion. "No, your job is to respect the legacy I've built over decades. I'm not going to let gossip define who I am." The room felt thick with tension, as even the producers behind the cameras were visibly stunned. Lionel leaned closer to the desk, his hand tapping nervously. "I've been in this business longer than some of those critics have been alive," he thundered. "I've faced challenges, betrayals, and triumphs. But I will not sit here and let you drag me into the mud." Robin held her ground, though the intensity in her eyes revealed that she too felt the heat of the moment. The interview seemed less like a conversation and more like a duel. Robin responded calmly, saying, "Lionel, with all due respect, addressing concerns doesn't erase your legacy, it can strengthen it." But Lionel wasn't ready to hear that perspective. He pointed a finger slightly in her direction, his voice sharper now. "Strength doesn't come from answering to rumors. Strength comes from rising above them." At this point, the audience was captivated, not with Lionel's songs, but with his raw emotion. Robin attempted to soften the mood by pivoting to his upcoming tour, but Lionel cut her off mid-sentence. "We can talk about music, sure, but you've already set this up as an ambush," he barked. The word ambush hung heavy in the air, resonating with a mix of shock and disbelief. Robin kept her professionalism intact. "I assure you, this is not an ambush," she replied. "It's an opportunity for transparency." Lionel leaned back in his chair, shaking his head. "Transparency is not airing dirty whispers in front of millions," he said sternly. The exchange was less about questions and more about control, and Lionel wasn't about to lose his grip. The cameras zoomed in as Lionel's expression shifted from anger to deep frustration. "I've spent a lifetime giving my fans music that heals, music that inspires," he said passionately. "But somehow, all of that gets overshadowed by sensational headlines. Do you think that's fair?" His tone wavered between hurt and fury, leaving Robin momentarily speechless. Robin carefully replied, "The public sees you as larger than life, Lionel, and with that comes scrutiny." He immediately countered, "Scrutiny is one thing, accusation is another. Don't confuse the two." The words cut through the studio air like a blade. The audience shifted uncomfortably in their seats, not knowing whether to clap or remain silent. Lionel's voice now carried the energy of a man tired of defending himself. "For every rumor you repeat, there are 1,000 fans out there who know my heart," he said with conviction. Robin, unshaken, responded, "And many of those same fans want to hear directly from you. Isn't that why you're here?" The duel of words pressed forward like two titans refusing to yield. His frustration spilled over. "I came here to celebrate music, not to become the subject of interrogation," Lionel declared. Robin attempted to smile, though it was strained. "Lionel, celebration and honesty can go hand in hand," she said. His lips tightened, his hands gesturing animatedly. "Honesty doesn't mean playing into narratives designed to tear me down." Lionel's charisma, even in anger, shone through as he defended his stance. "I've poured my soul into every lyric, every melody. he said. And now, what people want is to pick apart my personal life instead of cherishing the art. That's the real tragedy. Robin's calm demeanor became more serious, as she acknowledged, I hear you, but the public conversation is already happening with or without you. His response was swift. Then let it happen without me, Lionel shot back. I don't need to dignify gossip by giving it a platform. The words came with finality, as though he'd drawn an invisible line. Robin tilted her head, acknowledging his boundary, but the intensity of the interview could not be undone. At this point, producers signaled to move the segment along, but Lionel wasn't finished. He leaned forward again, determination in his eyes. I've stood on stages around the world, sung for presidents and kings, he said, his voice booming. And you think some rumor is going to define me? Not today, not ever. The audience erupted in applause, some cheering his defiance. Robin attempted to bring the focus back to his artistry. Your new tour is one of the most anticipated events of the year, she began. But Lionel was still fuming. The tour is about music, unity, joy. It's not about the noise created by people who've never walked in my shoes. His words carried the weight of decades of experience and frustration. Robin, maintaining her composure, asked gently, do you ever think about how addressing issues directly might tease the speculation? Lionel sighed heavily, shaking his head. Speculation never ends. You give one answer, and they twist it into another story. The cycle never stops. His tone was weary, though the fire in his eyes remained. The energy in the studio was electric, like watching two forces collide. Lionel's hands gripped the table as he emphasized his point. I am more than a headline. I am more than a rumor. I am Lionel Richie, and I will not let anyone rewrite that truth. The declaration brought spontaneous applause, though Robin stayed calm, respecting the gravity of his words. Robin carefully interjected, but don't you think silence sometimes gives more power to the narrative? Lionel immediately countered, silence gives me peace. That's more valuable than catering to speculation. His response was met with nods from some audience members, who empathized with his perspective. Robin kept her gaze steady, refusing to escalate. You've always been known as a voice of calm and positivity, she said softly. This moment feels different. Lionel's eyes glistened, his voice trembling with passion. Even the calmest river has a breaking point when stones are thrown at it constantly. The metaphor left the room in reflective silence. Lionel continued, his tone softer but still intense. I didn't build my legacy overnight. It came with sacrifices, tears, and relentless work, and I won't allow reckless words to diminish that legacy. Robin nodded slowly, acknowledging his pain even as she held her ground. The cameras caught every subtle expression, every pause between their words. This conversation is raw, Lionel, Robin admitted, but maybe rawness is what people need to see from you. He smirked bitterly. Rawness is what they're getting, whether they like it or not. The crowd reacted with murmurs and quiet laughter, easing some of the tension. Lionel leaned back, folding his arms. I've survived in this industry because I know when to fight and when to walk away, he said. Robin asked cautiously, so is this one of those fights? He replied, this isn't a fight. This is me protecting what I've built. His conviction rang like a final note. Robin, ever professional, attempted to close the gap. We appreciate your honesty, Lionel. It's not easy to face these questions, he responded. Honesty is easy. It's dealing with the spin afterward that's hard. His words drew a knowing sigh from the audience, many nodding in agreement. The interview began winding down, though the emotional charge lingered. At the end of the day, Lionel said, the music will speak louder than any rumor ever could. The audience applauded again, resonating with his message of resilience. Robin smiled politely, though her eyes showed empathy for his frustration. Do you have one final message for your fans watching right now? Robin asked. Lionel leaned forward, his voice steadier now. Yes, don't let noise distract you from the melody of life. Focus on what uplifts you. That's what I've always tried to give through my music. It was a moment of reflection amidst the fire. The tension softened, but the undercurrent of conflict remained. Robin thanked Lionel for his time, but he interjected once more, and thank you, but remember this, artists are people too. We bleed, we break, and we defend ourselves when pushed." His vulnerability struck a chord with everyone watching. As the interview wrapped, Lionel's eyes glistened with both anger and emotion. He stood tall, exuding pride and defiance, reminding everyone why he remains a legend. Robin extended her hand, and after a moment's hesitation, he shook it, the gesture symbolizing both friction and respect. The cameras panned to the audience, capturing their mixed reactions, to some stunned, some inspired, others unsure how to process what they had witnessed. It was more than an interview, it was a clash of truth, pride, and unfiltered emotion. When the broadcast ended, the story was far from over. Clips of the fiery exchange spread rapidly online, sparking debates across social media. Some praised Lionel for standing his ground, while others admired Robin's composure. Regardless of where opinions landed, one truth remained: this moment would be remembered as one of the most intense interviews in today's show history. Backstage, the atmosphere buzzed with tension as producers and crew members whispered about what had just unfolded. Lionel paced briefly, shaking his head, while Robin regrouped with staff before her next segment. Both professionals understood the gravity of the moment. They had just created television history, the kind that would be replayed, dissected, and debated for weeks. Social media platforms exploded within minutes, clips of Lionel's outburst circulating at lightning speed. Fans flooded Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with comments ranging from admiration for his authenticity to criticism of his fiery demeanor. Hashtags trending worldwide, cementing the interview as not just news, but a cultural talking point. Journalists quickly jumped on the story, crafting headlines that amplified the drama. Some outlets praised Lionel's boldness and refusal to be cornered, while others accused him of overreacting to routine questions. The dual narrative, a defiant legend or fragile star, only added fuel to the firestorm engulfing entertainment media. Meanwhile, Lionel's devoted fanbase rallied behind him, defending his passion as the mark of a true artist. They argued that decades of contribution to music should outweigh any moment of public frustration. His supporters framed him as a man wrongfully pushed into a corner, standing tall against unfair scrutiny. On the other hand, critics used the moment as evidence that celebrities often shy away from accountability. They argued that Lionel's defensiveness suggested there was more beneath the surface. Debate threads stretched across forums and comment sections, with strangers arguing passionately about the singer's integrity. Robin, for her part, earned her own share of praise. Viewers admired her composure, her ability to stay calm in the face of Lionel's intensity, and her commitment to asking the hard questions. Some even labeled her the true professional of the day, navigating the fiery exchange without losing her cool. Entertainment analysts chimed in, predicting that the incident could boost ratings for the Today Show. The clash between a beloved music icon and a respected journalist was a formula for viral attention. The producers, while initially shocked, began to recognize the unintentional publicity gold they had just struck. Lionel's team released a brief statement hours later, clarifying that he stood by his words but regretted the emotional tone. The carefully crafted message aimed to calm the storm while still maintaining his defiant stance. It was a delicate balance. He appeased the critics without betraying his authentic reaction. The following morning, opinion pieces poured out, dissecting every detail of the interview. Was Lionel right to defend his legacy so fiercely, or had he let his emotions get the best of him? Was Robin too persistent, or simply doing her job? The debate reached beyond celebrity news, touching on broader themes of privacy, respect, and accountability in the public eye. In the end, the fiery exchange became more than just a viral clip. It was a mirror reflecting the tension between fame and scrutiny, artistry and expectation. For Lionel, it was a reminder that even legends are human. For Robin, it was proof that journalism sometimes demands standing firm in uncomfortable spaces. And for viewers everywhere, it was a moment of raw television they wouldn't soon forget.